one. Hey, Christina.
Bryan.
Yeah. I was telling you this before. I'm going to say it again. I don't know what you're going to think of this.
Which is why we've decided to listen to potentially two cuts from the same artist.
Yes. So we're going to listen to some Lewis Cole, and we'll see him in a couple different scenarios. Do you want to know anything about him?
I do, but maybe we should save it for after I encounter their music.
Okay, so just to give a little context, we did just watch Snarky Puppy, and this is an interesting thing to compare that to. Just the video
Everything.
of it, how they recorded it, everything. Yes.
Are we listening to recordings? Don't tell me.
Okay.
And I've also brought my own Post-its. Ready?
Yeah. Are you okay with a swear word here and there?
I'm okay.
Okay, good. All right. Are you buckled in?
Yep, ready to go.
Okay, here we are.
Okay, he looks like Lou Reed.
What's up? I would rather I back it up. Easy, safe, and use with us. I would rather I back it up. If life is asking you what's up, I would rather I back it up. Easy, safe, and use with us. I would rather I back it up. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to live. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to live. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to live. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Life is asking you what's up. I would rather I back it up. Easy, safe, I would rather I back it up. Take that chance all day long, walking up so fucking strong. Take that chance all day long, walking up so fucking strong. Take that chance all day long, walking up so fucking strong.
Well,
let's
next
just.
time you're going to be marking the clips yourself.
I can mark clips.
Yeah.
I can mark clips. So just to start, since we have alluded to it, possibly we're going to compare Lewis to Lewis in a second, or
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll have round 1 and 2, but it's kind of like we have a Snarky Puppy round 1 and a Lewis
Yes.
Cole. I think I said Lewis Clark. Lewis Cole.
Yep.
Round 2. So first off, musicians are never not making a fashion choice. You show up in dad cargo shorts, you are making a music fashion choice. And so I started off loving the jumpsuit and the glasses. And before he even got going, I felt like I was watching a Foxygen video. And I was thinking, I wonder if he's in LA. Because like Foxygen has got that. That just says, and then it turns out that I'm pretty sure. And so just to go back and forth, I'm going to clear out these Post-it notes first. But
Okay.
to do a snarky comparison, I feel like budget is as budget does.
Yep.
Is one of my Post-its. And I feel like we're watching the same thing. And
Yeah.
I would also say one of the things that's interesting about the things that artists can pursue through further training. I mean, in addition to if you want to work on your relationship, I'd like to think that when people go to conservatory, they're working on their relationship to their inner artistic voice and their instrument. But it can be a lot of other things. But the other thing that's available is audio recording. And audio recording is the car keys to the DIY movement. And so just to say budget, no budget, like if you know what you're doing, you can
Yes.
dig up enough SM57s and a snake.
Yeah.
So I have this feeling of watching somebody who's got both set, like the whole spectrum of skills, both the recording skills as well as the music skills. So yes, was it a delight to go down to the first corner of the stairs and then to the kitchen, which had as many humans playing instruments as possible? Yeah. So I feel like in terms of the knowledge, they're actually living in a very similar realm. I might even go so far as to say the West Coast does as the West Coast does, and the East Coast does as the East Coast does. And if Snarky Puppy's in LA, then I'm so wrong. But this definitely, before I saw the dancer, vocalist outfits out on the patio, I felt like we were on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed the kitchen knife sequence breakdown. Extra points on the choreo for the vocalists.
Mm-hmm.
The extra points for the graphics. The font is on message.
Yes. Yep.
So we covered dance points. Microphone on a stick. Every recording should have a microphone on a stick, like a rando. Duct tape.
To a
broom handle.
Broom handle, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's perfect.
Yep. There they are.
There they are.
There they are. That's a good thing
they've got wrist.
They put the lyrics down there.
So the first thing I thought when I saw this go, also just the setup before he went to all the other places that it went to. And again, this is not something that is chord heavy. It's vamp oriented. Mm-hmm. So rhythm is part of it.
Right.
People are, so Snarky Puppy and also Lewis are doing a thing where they're creating a sense of loops. Or if you've worked in Logic or with Pro Tools, right?
Yep.
Where you drop the little thingies. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's part of the quilting power of, of contemporary tracked recording. So I feel like for him, I felt like I was watching. Okay, so I mentioned I felt like I was watching Foxygen. I mentioned that I felt like I was watching Bedroom Pop with Alex Cameron, who also F-bombs. Mm-hmm. And then again, coming back to like this looped, and loops live are like playing over vamps. And I think about loops let instrumentalists go places, but also they split the difference with an audience, where an audience can follow them, where it's not like everything's hard and complicated and complex all at once. It's like there's something that is holding them, like a rhythm or a repeated chord loop, while people are going other places with creating lines. Like it kind of gives them a canvas that they don't have to worry about so they can follow improv.
Right.
So good job, everybody, on figuring out how to make improv more accessible and also virtuosity fun. So I feel like this is in some ways, I feel like we're watching some kind of Americana. And nobody would usually put probably either of these folks in Americana because they're not sounding very Lucinda or Uncle Tupelo and where's your mandolin. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a mandolin.
Right.
And I think about to be an American musician, not to go grandiose on this, but I'm gonna. To be an American musician is to be open to the context and the communities that you're in, the communities you choose, the communities that contributed to your formation. And then you freaking stand there and try to make sense of it all. And you try to figure out, as there's so much different stuff, what's where do you belong? But where do you belong is no longer like, oh, I'm a jazz person or oh, I'm a songwriter. But it does a little bit. Marketing still does that to us. But it's almost more like, okay, these pieces are going to meet in me. What pieces am I bringing into this musical vortex called myself? So that's why I'm putting them in the bag of Americana, because there's quite a bit to pick from. And he is picking from it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
So,
you really do get a sense that he's bringing everything about his life and his community and his
snacks.
influence in his living room and everything.
Yeah.
Yep. The condo he lives in or whatever this is. And yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So this is like DIY, but it's also, I wouldn't call it professional musicianship, but that's the word typically to describe excellence but professional musicians can also be a lot of other places, like playing it safe for different reasons, or not necessarily always when you see a professional musician performing is what you see who they are. So Snarky Puppy, one of the things that we said was what you see is what you get, or what you see is what we're hearing. And I feel like it's kind of a similar thing here where what we see, we're getting Lewis. What you see is what you get. Like, this is the thing. So, and I think that's also what defines an artist. So people are making art. It's entertaining.
Yep. And he is one snappy dresser.
He's an intentional dresser, yes.
Yeah. Snappy, damn it.
And more swear words.
Yes.
Awesome, Jam.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So
Cool.
Good job, everyone. Art was had by all.
Yes.
And apparently
All right.
snacks too. Also, most powerful use of stairwell.
Yeah. Yeah. And that the whole just around the corner thing was really happening.
No, I mean, you thought it was enough he could play drums, but no, there's more.
No, there's much more. And
you
thought, yeah, and then, well, look who's out on the deck.
And I am a little bit drawn towards, again, like, how did they, I don't know if they have cook shows where it's like, how did you make that? But
there was preparation in this.
Drum machine. Like when he was reaching over for the drum machine, I was wondering what kind of era of drum machine is that? Because it could very well be a vintage drum machine.
There's one other small detail that I really liked that I think added to it, and that's that they left in when he reached over and his voice faded away from the microphone because he was trying to do something. And they just, that just makes it even better.
And so that's also, like, the other thing too is just in terms of film, I think they would call this a through take. There were cutaways for B-roll to the vocalist. Like, I didn't feel the camera swing. So I don't know if they had one that was set up on them and then one that was here. But that's the other thing too is, I mean, this is acting kind of like as a document. The things you're showing me are documents of musicians making music.
Right.
Like, and the videos sometimes, on an extreme case of a music video away from a studio, it can look like guitar players that don't have chords running to their amps while they lip sync. But still, like, videos more and more are getting set up to be able to record people actively making music in the studio. It's a very nice thing to do.
Yeah, because we relate more to it as seeing other human beings and what they're capable of and what they're doing and how they're doing it.
And it's really fun seeing, again, kind of like pulling back the curtain, be like, how'd you make this?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know if you noticed, but they also showed the people filming this. There was like somebody with an iPhone. So some of it was filmed with a phone. Some of it was a little handheld camcorder. Some of it was,
yeah.
a camera on the end of a broomstick. Yeah.
All right, let's do one more.
Good stuff. All right. So if we do one more.
This is Lewis Part 2.
This is Lewis Part 2, and you have a choice between watching Lewis Cole with the Fearless Flyers,
who I don't know,
who you don't know, with Wolfpack. And
this feels like a Wolfpack neighbor, by the way. Like, I don't know.
Fits in like a glove. So we've got a video with him playing with Wolfpack, and then we also
are they in Michigan?
It looks like they are from the video.
I think Wolfpack's in Michigan.
Yeah. And then I've also got him with he has another band called Knower.
Spell?
So Knower. And so Knower is the Knower video is also filmed in his condo. The Wolfpack one is filmed wherever Wolfpack makes their videos, and the one with the Fearless Flyers is live in Amsterdam.
We're only going to do one more.
Okay.
Can we do it? So we've got 3 to pick from?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 3. I picked. Do you have it? Do you have it figured out?
Which one's which?
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
2. Ready. Now, if you're not happy with that, you can just assign me one.
Okay. One last thing you have to decide. Do you want this to be more like this or more like not like this?
Bryan, it's your show.
Yeah, but you're the guest.
I know, but it's about me hearing stuff I haven't heard.
Okay. I'm going to show you something that is him in a different. Okay.
You had said this. You had said giving, like, if I didn't, I shouldn't. I'll just do. Everybody's going to know.
Yeah.
You had said, like, if it's offending you or if it's in the no, just and we'll stop. Yep. But then we also said to give him kind of a full range, that you were going to show me 2 of him in different settings and setting doesn't have to be literally outside his apartment, but just, I think you wanted to show off his range or show off the different sides of him being Lewis.
Yes. Okay.
So that was your vision.
Yes. So I do want to at some point show you the other 2, but this one will show because it is him, a different view of him. He's playing with the Fearless Flyers. Just as a one quick note, the Fearless Flyers have 2 of the people from Wolfpack are in the Fearless Flyers, and they also have Corey Wong and my old brain is freezing, but the bass player, who is like an incredible bass player. But they also have Nate Smith, who is their drummer, who is one of my all-time favorite drummers in there too. So there you go. Are you ready?
Ready. Also, this was a great still.
Cool.
We got another very special guest coming up with us this evening. Very incredible talent. Please welcome to the stage, Lewis Cole.
Yo, yo, yo. All right.
I don't want to. I check my bank account. I'm too scared to. I check my bank account. I don't want to. I check my bank account. I'm too scared to. I check my bank account. I don't want to. I check my bank account. I'm too scared to. I check my bank account. I don't want to. I check
I had Post-its. We don't have to go back.
Okay.
Because basically you'd just be showing stills while I talk.
Right.
Why don't we start with fashion first?
Of course. Why wouldn't we?
Why wouldn't we? So Lewis is on his bike with a plan, and it's a jumpsuit with sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
So he's arrived.
Yep.
His own version of Parliament. And then we've got. So it's interesting. It's not like, oh, you're using falsetto that makes you like Theo from Wolfpack, but I totally went there, and I haven't gone into enough Wolfpack to know how much they're using it, but I feel like they do. And falsetto in men is really interesting. It's not all about me, but when I am goofing around with music at home right now, it looks like goofing around in the basement. There's a person in my life who also happens to be a musician, so sometimes we're playing in the basement. But I find myself grabbing the microphone, and a lot of time when I'm doing that, I'm exploring ranges that would be for high tenors. And so it's just really fun that guys can do the same thing, which is they can play up in what would traditionally be like an alto or soprano range. So It's interesting to me when male artists make the choice to explore falsetto. Like, why not, right?
Right.
But I just think about that. I think about that as a color choice, and I also think about it being kind of a freedom choice. All right, so there's that. He doesn't have to be a Theo Katzman just because he's got a nice falsetto.
Yep.
The video had Joy of Play, so I like that you're picking ones that feature Joy of Play. Like it's pretty obvious. And I also have to say, everybody, including the drummer they didn't show, who had a big fat mega kit. Yeah. So let's just talk about the drum set, shall we? So basically we have somebody playing a jazz kit, and that kit he was on stage with is smaller than the kit he had in his stairwell.
Yep.
With less cymbals. Like, by the way, if you wanted to go back to that video in the condo, he had a very interesting ride cymbal. And it would have been like in a real geek out world, it would have been fun to have had a close up of what the heck that cymbal was. It looked like an octagon now.
Yeah.
Who makes that?
We know who plays it.
Yeah, we do know who plays it. I think there's a sponsorship brewing in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So I was intrigued that he was playing like a barely Beatles. It was less than it would be like if Ringo was playing on the Ed Sullivan Show set, basically, is what we got. And it was wonderful to hear a drum solo.
Yep.
And how much can you get out of three pieces? And the other thing too that I thought was interesting, just, this is kind of like musician geekery. I feel sorry for everybody who's like, whatever. But there was a lot of exploring hi-hat, open hi-hat. That was really partially because that's
what he had there.
That was what he had. But if you've got a hi-hat and you're playing with it, it's got so many things you can get out of it. So that was interesting. Nice use of open hi-hats. Nice use of second drummer. There was a shaker occurring that was not on his side of the stage. Yep. And I thought they solved the drummer as lead person better than... Who's the guy who fronted the band? Leon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
I shall be relieved while singing vocals. And also I think about singing while playing piano is not a picnic. Singing while playing drums should get extra points. And for both instruments, the challenge for fronting is that you're behind a freaking tank, and a lot of times people make the choice to sit.
Yeah.
So for him to have like a smaller kit made him more audience accessible. I also had a moment where, as he was walking on, I felt like it was a little Kraftwerky. I think he might not have been the only person in a jumper. Am I remembering that wrong?
No, you are remembering that correctly.
Okay, so, and then it also felt like there was a digital, I was listening for it later and the digital track was gone, I think. But when it came on, I was like, Kraftwerk, and it felt like we were like on the Autobahn almost. Also, there were a couple places where there were chord progressions, and it's not going to keep me up at night. But I've heard those chord progressions before, and they're fairly distinctive, and they were in the same cadence as another. So I'm playing a little bit of, what song is that? I put a couple markers for, that's another song. And it's not that it's an illegal ripoff. You can have whatever chord progression you want.
Right.
That's, as long as it's not got melody, lyric, groove, background harmonies to go with. Like everybody, there's just no way to copyright chords. So I was hearing echoes of other songs, but I couldn't tell you what they were. But sometimes got distracted by that. Yeah, here it is. The chords remind me of something, and that happened in the intro, and then it happened in like the main groove in the middle.
It may also be like and I'll have to play you some Fearless Flyers sometime because they're awesome. But they will throw in things to kind of as an homage to different things. So
Yeah,
it's quite possible that they were
So-
doing that.
and it was interesting because I thought it was going to be electronica, and I felt like from what we saw in the condo that it's not a far step to electronica, but also from what we saw in the condo, it's not a far step from here. Like when you said in different contexts, okay, so he gets out of his house, and he's got, I guess, as I'm saying, well, yeah, that's kind of different, but it wasn't like we saw him in a tuxedo doing like
Right.
like what is it, jazz jukebox? It wasn't like he was doing something like that where all of a sudden it was in the genre of the stuff that he explores. And so what I would say, and again, I hear there's also a strong funk component
Yes.
to what he's exploring.
Yep, for sure.
So is it, and this is probably bad to have on film, it's Wolfpack or Wolfpack?
I say Wolfpack, and then most people I've heard say Wolfpack.
Wolfpack. Okay, then I
Yeah.
did say it okay. Yay.
More
Okay, so-
Germanesque.
Yeah. More Michigan,
Yes, obviously.
more cowbell.
Yeah.
So the other
Did you
thing
notice that the two guitar players and the bassist had their instruments on stands?
Are you sure about that? Because when he was taking a solo, he was
Yep.
moving his body.
Mm.
Okay, that feels very Devo-ish.
Yes.
Do I get points?
That's part of their whole shtick is the guitar players and the bass player all have their instruments on.
But
the
they
stands.
didn't have strainers or the standard Devo fez on their
True.
heads.
True.
That might have gone too far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think about the stillness it creates when you're trying to like barely move, which is my impression of how Devo,
Mm-hmm.
borrowing from Kraftwerk, would do this not moving first part of the set for all the reasons that they do that.
Yep.
The other thing that I was going to say, so it's funky and it's a club and it's big, but I think there's this element, you can take a player out of a traditional jazz setting, but if they're an improviser who's jazz trained, it never really goes away. Like there's always tells, and there's good tells and there's bad tells depending on who the person is. And so what I wanted to call out was good tells, and the good tells were in the middle of this space that was a bigger space, a high energy space. Three things maybe that contributed to a sense of intimacy. One is that he was not behind a tank. He was not behind Battlestar Galactica. He was, and it's interesting that they separated him from the drums, because I think about if you were thinking about how they normally set up two drum sets or drummers, it's kind of nice sometimes to have them be next to each other so they can be laughing and watching each other and kind of, it's not sharing musical jokes, but where they're combining the layers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can see each other, I mean, that is, if you're playing with your drummer, and that's kind of where some of the magic happens. It's where all the magic happens, really, is when you're playing with your drummer and accompanying the drummer, then you start to get the thing that happens that's so good. So he was separated from the other drummer, and that's appropriate because he was fronting.
Right.
So things that created intimacy and being able to connect to somebody who's on drums, knowing that somebody else can do a thicker texture if need be. So some of it was lighting, but it was less of a drum set. Let him, and this is the temptation if you're an instrumentalist first and a vocalist, is if you love your instrument, it's possible to get lost in all the things you can do on your instrument. And that's not bad if you're taking a solo, but it's bad if you're supposed to be singing and you're trying to do something that's like kind of challenging, singing. I also think, I just want to go to Sunglasses for a second, because he's doing them very on purpose. And the thing I was going to say for Lewis is he's doing something that feels intimate while wearing sunglasses, which is hard to do because sunglasses typically, they're oh so cool, but they create like usually an emotional coolness.
Yeah,
So
there's a distance they put
he's
in
got
there.
an emotion. Yeah, he's got his jumpsuit and his glasses and his emotional distance. But then what he's doing to bridge it for us: falsetto, thin drums, lighting, and sending out energy that's front person energy. Like he's
Right.
not so busy taking care of business as a heart of the band, foundation of the band, rhythm section, bass and drums marriage, to be able to do the work of fronting. So he did a very powerful job of fronting without ever leaving the drum stool.
Yes.
Good job, Lewis. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the first time I've seen it be that effective.
Mm,
So
cool.
he's connecting with the audience with enough energy to be front while
Yep.
drumming and while wearing sunglasses. So
Trifecta. Yeah.
trifecta.
Yep.
So anyway, that was fun.
Cool.
And I didn't think it was different. He's in a different, what's the word you used? It started with the C? Context?
Context, setting. I think setting is probably more accurate.
Yeah, it's a different setting, but it's not a whole new hymn.
Right.
And it's not even a different outfit. It's not even a different outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to play you some more of his other stuff too, because there's some stuff that is quite different than this, but again, you'd be able to say, well, that is definitely Lewis Cole still.
And I think about as an artist
Everything
that
he
sense
does,
of
yeah.
it's him. So I think about
Yep.
as an artist who's a fronter or a composer, you kind of want to. It's funny talking to you about this because I do have a philosophy on it. As an artist and as a composer and as a fronter, I mean, I don't think he thinks of himself as a singer-songwriter. Where's his guitar? But kind of he is.
He is, yeah.
In a kind of soupy, amped up way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's got a sense of voice, and he's got a sense of presence, and he's got a sense of being very comfortable driving the bus. And I will just say this: a lot of times when I think about drummers, I think about drummers driving the bus, especially once you get into the sheer numeric quantities we saw today for Snarky and saw in his condo. Like when you were pulling 20 people along with you, at least in big bands, which is, I mean, it's kind of like a contemporary big band with the instrumentation of their choosing. It's like you're pulling everybody along so they don't drag. It's very rare that when you've got 20 people that the herd is going to rush. The herd is going to drag. Maybe maybe now we have a new superhuman breed of musicians where that doesn't happen. Maybe there's a click in everybody's set of earphones that they're all responsible for. I don't know if everybody was on a click. I'm assuming that normally what they would be doing is they'd be playing with him. Again, like if people are all playing with the drummer, it's magical. Right. Anyway, driving the bus is a term typically reserved for drummers who are having to haul the band on their back up the hill. But I also had a sense of he's doing something that's kind of like a neighbor to driving the bus. I don't know if he thinks of himself as driving the bus, but he's driving something or leading something. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Drums are servant leadership.
Yeah. Well, I think his personality just comes in, his sense of humor comes through in everything he's doing. I mean, if just even that song, I'm I'd afraid to look at my bank account.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He's good. He's good. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you would think of his other band, Knower, where it's him, bass player, a keyboard player, and a female vocalist.
Does he still sing?
Sometimes.
It sounds like he's letting himself have more leeway to just be drums and do other stuff. Like I will also say that if you're leading either by fronting or by band organization, those things take energy, and you kind of have to pick, at least if you're having to wear different hats, it's good to know what hat you're wearing in the moment. Like, for example, if the bass player in Snarky is doing all the legwork of organizing the tour or organizing the session, like that's a lot of business admin.
Right.
That's a lot and we only have so much creative energy or energy in a given day. And so if you give it to taking care of some of and there is creativity in connecting with your fans and sharing who you are through different channels, whether it's social media, like it's a relationship that needs tending, but it takes time and energy to do that.
Right.
Anyway, I'm just thinking about in his different projects, he's letting himself enjoy different things. And I think I will just say this about smaller groups. It's less responsibility. It's like I said, it's like there's less band to haul up the hill on your back.
Right.
Big groups of people are a lovely and wonderful, fun energy. So I just think it's interesting that he's got a way he fronts that's really captivating. But I could also see if he's wanting to just dig into drums, like to have somebody else be. It's kind of like what he did for this show. He had drums that were kind of not what the camera was focusing on. They were focusing more on him as lead drums, which is like a fun concept. But it sounds like that he's doing a similar thing in the other group, where to let himself play drums more, there's somebody else who can carry the vocals, and he can do some vocals, but he doesn't have to do them all.
Right.
So that's super smart.
Yeah.
Maybe he always knew to do that.
I don't know. One of the things that I resonate with him just as a creative person too is like all the diversity in different situations and different things that he does actually, and even within Nowhere, he does a lot of different things. It's like I get bored with one thing and I want to, do murals for a while, do picture books for a while, make toys for a while, and it's just like I don't know. I sense that he probably has some similarities.
So let's talk about that for just 1 second. So coming back to being only able to do one thing at a time well. Like having different projects lets an artist explore different sides of their artistic selfhood or things that they love, so that you're not combining things that just don't go together, or that are, it's one thing to combine a whole bunch of short forms, and it's another to take two mega long form projects and try to make a sandwich of them. Like it's too much. So I don't think about artists often thinking about, where's the too much point, because we're typically expansive and reaching for things. But there is a point where if we've gotten too expansive, it's not fun anymore. So,
I hate that moment when you realize that
you're trying to do too many things.
Yep.
You can have it all,
or
but not all at once.
Yeah, or you've put so much into something and then it hits you and it's like, I don't like doing this anymore, but I've been putting so much into it. But yeah, or I get scattered if I'm doing this and this and this and this and this and this. Yeah.
I tend to do kind of a scattered thing as well. So anyway, I think Lewis is doing something really well. And I don't know if he's just automatically born with prioritizing, or if he's learned it, or if he's just got such a great inner compass that it's like, I am doing one thing and this is the thing I'm doing right now. He's not locked in though. His next I'm doing one thing could be something completely different. He's a monotasker, I bet.
You know what? We're going to have to try and get him on, and you and I will interview him.
All right.
That would be fun.
It would be fun.
All right.
I would feel shy, but mostly it would be really fun.
Yeah, it would be. All right. We're going to see if it can happen.
There you go. We can also start bringing producers in so they can explain
how.
They can do some splaining.
They can, yes.
Especially because I wouldn't be surprised in both things we watched today, or maybe the live concert. I don't know who's mixing that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the audio live engineer making choices about. Probably not. Probably they're different. But for the other two, there's a producer somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm late. I have to go give blood.
Go give blood. Cool.
Gonna do it.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you, Brian.